Hey guys, making a video about Revelation chapter 9. I hope to do it in 15 minutes. If not, it'll be a part B. I got my three Bibles here. It is the NIV and of course the King James Version. And I got myself a pocket size, of course, that I just keep with me. So I'm going to open up the book of Revelation. I want to talk about part A. I made a video about part B somewhere. I don't know how to do the link stuff, but anyways, hopefully it's all on the same channel. But yeah, I'm going to do a part A because nobody's talking about part A. It's about the Locust. And there have been videos made about it. I think it's Armageddon News makes a video about that, and there's some other smaller individuals that have made videos about it, but they don't understand it. So I am making a video about it to give my interpretation of this chapter, very important chapter, in the book of Revelation, whichever Bible you carry, NIV or KJV, or even the American Standard Bible, whatever, NAM or whatever, I don't know. But chapter 9, I'm going to go through this as best as I can, and I want everyone to understand. Everyone to understand us watching this video that everything in this chapter is figurative or symbolic. That nothing in here in this chapter. You can go through the entire Bible and argue some stuff that are literal and figurative, but this chapter that's I'm going to talk about is all symbolic, and that's where the mistakes are with people. People don't touch this chapter because they don't understand a locust, that's torturing and harming people, and they actually literally believe, they can't picture it, but they really believe it's a literal locust that's coming sometime in the future and going to do this much destruction. And as everyone knows, locusts do exist. They are part of a nature that's part of all of us. It's part of the ecosystem. They go around and they devour farms. I don't know exactly what they but they come around. When they come for 5 months. That's why in this chapter it talks specifically about locusts doing their stuff for 5 months. And a lot of people believe this is a literal locust that's going to do this damage to human beings, rather than crops. That they seem to, when they read this chapter, they read it as they're picturing it verbatim, literally, as if you can draw it out. If you're a cartoonist, you can draw this out in a piece of paper, literally, and this is exactly what you're going to see in a cartoon version. But when I read it, I want people to read it, or read it to themselves, or if I read it, they want to hear me read it to them. I want them to hear it as if somebody is telling a story, poetically. Because there's a lot of metaphors and similes here. It is a poetic type of writing, So when I read it, I want people to just listen to the story as if I'm John. I'm not John, but this is John telling the story. I'm just the reader, and I'm telling the story by reading the book. Don't picture it. Don't picture it as if what I'm telling you. You got to get the whole context of what I'm saying, and then I'm going to give you the symbolic interpretation after I read it. But just remember, don't picture it in your head when I'm reading it. Think if it's somebody's telling you a story, kind of like Jesus is telling the disciples a lot of what do you call that? All these. Anyways, he said nobody can understand it. Only you guys will be able to understand it, and I'll only tell you guys what the meaning of it is, because it's not meant for them. So I can't remember what the word I'm trying to use it. But anyways, I'm going to read it, and don't literally picture it in your head. Think of it as a storyteller. I'm telling you a story here in part A, and it's only part A. This is the fifth trump. Chapter 9 has the part A. I call it part A and part B. It's the fifth trumpet and the sixth trumpet. And I believe this is the day period. This is the generation we're living in today. For the past 50, 60, 70, 80 years. And we're headed to part B. Actually, we are in part B, and we're in between part A. We're waiting for part B. I'm not going to talk about part B today. I made another video on that, but it's not really about part B. Maybe I'll make a part B part, but let me read it. Don't picture it literally. Just think of it as somebody's telling you a story. Somebody has a lot of wisdom, and you don't quite get it, but don't picture it. Don't draw pictures. and okay, let me read it. Chapter 9 of the book of Revelation. This is what John writes. This is what he sees. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven. And I am reading from the King James Version. And the fifth angel sounded what? This is the fifth trumpet in the book of Revelation. And I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And other Bible says this is the abyss. Bottomless pit, the abyss, same thing. And he opened up the bottomless pit. And who opened up the bottom? Well, I'm going to read. He opened up the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locust were like unto horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running into battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months again. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue his name is Apollyon. That's part A, and he continues on with the 6th, 7th trumpet. It's also part, but it stops there. So now that I've read it, I'm going to try to go through line by line as best as I can, or maybe, to give the symbolic interpretation of this chapter 9, which is very important. And people are not gonna like what I have to say. I've made videos about America, about Babylon, America, and once again, I believe this is talking about the era of the USA's superpower era. When it began, it started out after World War II. It began as a bipolar world. Everybody knows it as the Cold War between USA and USSR, which, maybe not everybody knows, but in my generation they should, which ended in 1989 with the fall of the Berlin Wall. USSR collapsed, it was balkanized, and the eastern part of Russia balkanized and split up into, I don't know how many countries, 10 other countries there. Russia collapsed economically, militarily, superpowerly wise. It became this state of complete idleness after 1989, 1990s. Okay, but and then when that happened, the world became they call it a unipolar world. You can say an American hegemony. America has become the sole superpower. So I want you to think of this as I'm saying. Chapter 9, everything about this is talking about the USA, the United States of America. It's world leadership across the globe in the past 80 years. I believe that the entire book of Revelation is it's in order from chapter to chapter. Some people believe it's number to number, like the first seal is the first trumpet, blah blah blah, and the first bowl. I happen to believe that it is straightforward. Chapter 1, it begins in chapter 1, it ends in chapter 22. And we are in chapter 9 now in the book of Revelation. And really, even though there's 22 chapters, you got to understand, I don't want to go through the whole thing. Even though it's chapter 9, we're close to the very end, because the rest of the chapters that comes after chapter 9 are parenthetical chapters. It's not an actual chapter. It's just, anyway, that's a different topic. Chapter 9 means we're very close to the very end. This is something that has to happen before the coming of Christ. You know, whether you're a preterist, futurist, or historist. I happen to be a futurist that believes we're in the middle. I'm partially historist. So I believe that we can find our generation in the book of Revelation. Some of it has been fulfilled, and some of it is yet to come. And I believe our generation today, 2020, year 2020, we are living in chapter 9. So here we go. I said, I'm not going to be very popular for this, like all my videos. I have 3 or 4 videos out there. I'm not very popular, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm compelled to say this. I'll make this video, and it looks like I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to make this part A and part B. So I'm gonna cut this off now and make another video. But remember, the part B is about the symbolic interpretation of chapter 9, the book of Revelation, and I believe it's talking about the United States leadership in the past 80 years, and it's in our generation. Thank you. Please watch part B. I'm sorry it took this long, but hopefully you'll watch it.